You want to save money on your heat bill this winter? Follow my advice. Number one, let's talk about your thermostat for your house, okay? The thermostat comes in many forms today. There's the old school round dial, looks brass. There's the digital ones. There's the ones with an app. It's all over the board. If it were me, I'd go with a basic digital programmable thermostat. It's about midline, costs about $30 for the basic one, and you can spend a lot of money, but at this point, I'm just here to tell you how to save money, okay? So the first thing I want you to do is put your fan on your thermostat to on and not auto, okay? And the reason why I do that is because the fan on means that the fan and the blower motor in your furnace is always spinning. Well, that costs money to spin, but the key here is it's electrical. And when it spins and it's up to speed, it's very inexpensive on the electrical bill. Now, it's always moving air through your house now, and that air is going through your filter and cleansing it. So that keeps the air cleaner. And in the wintertime, respiratory issues, stuffy nose, sore throat, dripping, all of that is caused from respiratory situations that have bad, dirty, dry air. So that's number one. Number two, adjust your thermostat so that when you're home, it's a little bit colder than your normal. A lot of people, I say to keep it at 68 or 69 degrees. See if you can stand 66. And the reason why I tell you that is if you layer up clothing, maybe put on a sweater when you get home, the layers of clothing allow you to stay warmer longer. But that 2 degrees that you've lowered your thermostat saves you about 6% every 8 hours. Think about that. So let's say you go to work, okay? You don't need your house heated to 70 degrees, 72 degrees. All you got to do is have your house heated to 66, 65 degrees, okay? When you come home, yeah, you can raise it 1 or 2 degrees, put on a sweater. But for every 8 hours that your thermostat is down 1 degree, you save 3% on your gas bill. Think about that. So 8 hours, let's say you work 9 to 5, that's 8 hours, right? You're not at your house for 8 hours, but you lower your thermostat 2 degrees. That's 6%. So if you have an average gas bill of $300, 6% is $18. You just saved $18. What can you do with that $18? A lot. Okay, so your thermostat's very important. Now, the other thing that I want you to know is maybe you'll add insulation to your house. Adding insulation in your house is one of the most inexpensive ways to lower your gas, your heat, your energy bills. Okay, remember, heat travels towards the cold. Heat rises, heat goes up and tries to get out of your house. That's science. With that being said, when you have insulation in the walls, when you have insulation in your attic, when the heat hits the drywall and starts to migrate through into the attic or out the house, the insulation slows that down. And when it slows it down, it prevents the heat from going out, which means it stays hotter longer in your house. Now, how does that equate to saving money? Well, when it's hotter longer, the thermostat doesn't trigger the furnace to send more heat because it doesn't need it because the heat's staying longer. If the heat escapes right away, the thermos gets a signal. The thermostat sends the furnace a signal. And what happens is it then turns the gas on and starts to blow heat through the house. And it's a cycle. The less your furnace works, the less your gas bill. Let's keep it simple. So now, get a programmable thermostat, add some insulation. And by the way, we're going to have a podcast on different types of insulation, whether it's fiberglass, spray foam, or cellulose. Those are the top 3 that you can look into, and we'll give you more information on that. The other issues that you may have on your house for saving heat is maybe your furnace is old. At what point do you need to buy a new furnace and upgrade? Now, when I tell you to upgrade your furnace, I always say to homeowners, go with the highest efficiency furnace possible when you're buying a new furnace, because that increases your savings, it boosts your savings, and it allows you to get a long-term effect out of your furnace. Today, most furnaces are 90% efficient, okay? And over time, they become less efficient. When you get a 96% furnace, it takes 96% of the gas that goes through it, it burns efficiently. There's 4% waste. So the higher the efficiency, the better the furnace. So with a digital programmable thermostat, blown-in insulation, and a high-efficiency furnace, and you combine those together, you'll definitely lower your gas bill or your energy bill for your house. So that's important when you do that. Now, a high-efficiency furnace is costly. However, the savings that you'll receive on a monthly basis will help accelerate the payback period for a high-efficiency furnace. And today, you can get a high-efficiency furnace on the low end for about $5,000. $7,500 is for a good mid-grade or lower upper one. But then the high-end ones can go over $10,000. The key here, though, is the installation. Remember what I always say. The best furnace is the one that's installed properly. So when you're finding a contractor, you need to know that the installation is just as important as the brand. Lennox, American Standard, Goodman, Trane, Bryant. There's 100 furnace companies out there, okay? And if you buy the top of the line and install it wrong, it's worthless, okay? So the key here is finding a good brand, but finding a great heating and cooling contractor. And that's what we do here at Hire It Done in hireitdone.com. You can find a good heating and cooling contractor, or you can email me and I'll give you the advice through email. I'll help you out as well. But this podcast today will also help you find the right contractor. So you have the thermostat we already know. And by the way, you can call a heating and cooling company and say, I want a new thermostat. I want a new furnace. And they'll come in and do that. Now, installation is a separate contractor, but with a high efficiency furnace and a new programmable thermostat, you can accelerate and you can start saving right away. So getting a contractor to come out is important. Now, if you're going to save money this winter, you don't have to worry about air conditioning. I would say that if you're going to get both, you'll get better savings. However, if your air conditioning works fine, at this point, I would say leave it alone. We're just going to talk about getting the right furnace. Now, once you find a new furnace for your house, you need to talk about air filtration, your filter. Now, as you know, a lot of people have the 1-inch filters for their house. And if you change those monthly, you'll be okay. But it's monthly. It's not easy to remember that. And a lot of people say, oh, I don't even remember the last time I changed my furnace filter. Remember this, when your furnace filter is dirty, air blows through it. And remember earlier we said, turn your fan on so it's always blowing air through the filter and it's always cleaning the air. A plugged filter will make your furnace work less efficient. So much so that it could almost take the efficiency down by half. Think about that. You've just blown all your savings and all the efficiencies if you don't have a clean furnace filter. So when you get a new furnace, make sure you ask for the proper filtration. Now, the popular filters today are the 4 and 5-inch filters. Those are pleated. And the pleating is done so that you have surface area that the air flows through and cleans it. More surface area means more airflow, which means better efficiency, which means better comfort and lower pricing for your house and on your gas bill or your energy bill. So getting the right filter is important. Now, so what do we learn? We learned that the proper filter, the proper thermostat, the properly installed furnace, in conjunction, working in harmony, will lower your gas bill, will lower your energy bills, and make your house more comfortable. Now, if you have a ceiling fan, remember this, when air blows over your skin, it makes it feel cooler. So turn the ceiling fan the opposite way so that it draws air up, and then when the air draws, it pushes it back down. That allows you to have more efficiency and more airflow in your house and allow you to be more comfortable. Because as we know earlier, heat rises. We don't want the heat at the ceiling. We want the heat at eye level and body level. So turn your ceiling fan the opposite direction. So if you already have a newer furnace and you've got one from the last, let's say 5 years or earlier, I still recommend you get a yearly furnace tune-up, okay? You can get an air conditioning tune-up in the spring, but for the heating season, you get a furnace tune-up. And let's talk about what should be included in a furnace tune-up. First of all, the furnace tune-up is they're going to check your thermostat and make sure that when it's set to 65 degrees, 70 degrees, that the air coming out is 70 degrees or that the temperature in the house stays at 70, because the thermostat is what communicates to the furnace and tells it when to send heat. That's number one. when a furnace tune-up happens, they're going to check your heat exchanger. The heat exchanger is when the gas combusts, and that's where the heat is created. If there's any leaks in your heat exchanger or any cracks, carbon monoxide can come out, and that's very dangerous. They're also going to clean your blower motor. The blower motor is a moving part, and it blows the air through. It does collect dust, and it does collect debris. So when they clean that, it will also get any obstructions out, and it'll allow you to have a smoother working blower motor. They're going to check the air filter. If it's dirty, they're going to replace it. Obviously, that's important as well because we talked about that earlier. The burners, they're going to remove and clean the burners to prevent buildup of any soot or anything around the gas. That's also important because if it's not evenly burning, you're going to get lots of inefficiency in your furnace. They're going to check the gas pressure. They're going to check the flame sensor and any other moving parts that you might need. Now, there's also electrical components that they can test to see if everything electrically is working as well. Because part of a furnace, and by the way, a lot of furnace problems today, it's the motherboard that goes bad. And that's all the electronic parts. And that's what talks to the thermostat and talks to the furnace and sends the signals to create heat. So in a furnace tune-up, it's important, and I highly recommend it, that you get that done every year.
What you got?